What's the matter, you? Hey, what do you gotta say? Hey, how are you? How are you today? Please like and subscribe. I'm Amy Lee at Dropping These Pearls. If you'd like to support the channel, PayPal, zivamonalisa at gmail.com. How is everybody today? How is everybody? Time for the news to use. So today we're going to talk about furries, but right now we're going to go through our news, aren't we? Aren't we now? Channel recommendation today is Randy Rainbow from one of our private subscribers. She thinks that Randy Rainbow is the bee's knees, and I'm with you, girl. I agree. I myself don't like, what's the word? Show tunes. But if you like show tunes, Randy Rainbow's the guy for you. If you like politics and show tunes, you'll love him. It is entertaining, and I do like him. I'm just not a show tune person. Today, my music recommendation is Kitty from the Presidents of the United States of America. Kitty. That's a 90s song. I never really listened to it too much, but what the heck, Furries. But really, my actual recommendation is Down with the Sickness by Disturbia. You got to get down with the sickness. Yeah. You know how I am. You know how I am. All right, today's ASL, we're going to do fun. Because furries are fun. Take your hand like a Boy Scout, like you're doing one of these. Run it down your nose like it's a ski slope. And land on a platform that looks like this. Again, 2 fingers. So you're going to go like this. And that is fun. 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 Thank you. Today's ASL. All right. The movie I was thinking of. Now, I like to recommend movies, but I also like to recommend TV shows. And the reason why I'm discussing this today with the furries, I think it was 2010, CSI. It's called Fur and Longing, the episode. I love CSI. I like all the CSIs. At first, I didn't like the Miami one, but I grew to like it. That redheaded guy was an odd choice, though, really. He did it, though. He did the damn thing, right? He did a good job. Who would think that guy? Actually, that redheaded guy, do you remember him in Rambo? I do. So today, my suggestion is CSI, because I think it's a really neat, I've learned a lot from CSI, or so I think. And today's a good example of how CSI kind of ran the furries through the gutter, because they made a lot of suggestions that, well, not just suggestions, they literally said it and showed it, that these people that wear fur costumes do something called scritching, where they get together and they all like kind of do some sex stuff. That just sounds really bad, because it's hot. Okay, look at what I'm wearing right now. It is almost winter and I'm hot. Okay, baby. Anyway, CSI Fur and Loathing is my TV suggestion, but shoot, we're gonna do some movies. The other guys, Will Ferrell and Marky Mark Wahlberg. I'll always call you Marky Mark. Don't try me. And one day I hope to God to see you in your underwear again, because all right. Our medical terminology today is void. OID. Now, you know the word avoid. Oid, O-I-D, means it looks like something, it resembles something. So I'm going to say a word that is not well known. It's ovoid. O, like an ovary. An ovoid is something that resembles an egg. Drop in, pearls. This is what I like to do when people being like, girl, we all know that. I don't know. I'm doing this because I forget a lot of stuff. All right. So because I really like the word fun, let's do some translations of fun. Between my speech impediment and my memory, you know it's dark times. All right, let's see here. Let's have some fun. In German,
Spaß,
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 Spaß.
Spaß. It is spelled very strange. I will put it. Do they have like a completely different alphabet? They might, yeah, that's how far behind I am that I don't even realize that a lot of people have different alphabets. If somebody is in a different country, they're like Americans. And in German, fun is
Zabava,
zabava. Zabava. It's Zabava. So zabava. And that is in Croatian. So my bad. Croatian. Zabava. That means fun. All my Croatian sensations. Zabava. Okay. Now that we learn so much and we're wiser. Zabava. Croatian. Zabava. I love that. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, as you know, I also like to shout out channels, and one channel I'm going to shout out today is someone who gave me a comment. Let's talk about it, shall we? NeoandhisSon. NeoandhisSon is my YouTube recommendation today. Now, Neo gave me a comment. You want to hear it? I did a video on a man named Robert Fable. A big, chubby white man wearing lingerie. Who was wasted, wearing a set of actual cuffs from like a police station, but also wearing fashion cuffs. He put, is Robert any relation? He kind of looks like your twin brother. Ah, Neo. So I said, LOL, I wish. He has all the style and grace. And he put, dear God, he put, actually, I thought he had more of both. And I put, we all do, Neo. We all do. He's better than you too, so suck it up. Robert works. So since NeoandhisSon thinks I look exactly like Robert Fable, I would like to have everybody take a good look at you, Neo. But actually, Neo does have a channel in the UK, and it's pretty nice. He does songwriting with him and his son, and they do a lot of different covers. They have a lot of the County Crows covers. They do Scarsborough Fair, and they also did one of my favorite Bruce Hornsby's, you know. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember if it was Some Things Will Never Change, that one, or if it was just Mandolin Rain. I'm not sure which one it was, but I'm sure they probably did both. But check out NeoandhisSon out of the UK, a songwriting duo. All right, Neo. All right, so also coming up, we're going to be doing, we're going to learn about the nappy fetish. We're going to learn about diaper people. People who believe in being adult babies. Once I started thinking about CSI, I really started thinking about it, and I remember seeing the scritching and all that, and all that, and I thought, wow, that is like super bizarre. But I think in that same season, there was something about a man who wore a diaper and he was very rich and successful. And he went in this little tiny room. You open up the room and it's a big giant playroom for an adult baby. A giant crib, a giant rattle, you know, all that weird stuff. We're going to learn about that. Because, you know, I'd rather have somebody be an adult baby than a rapist or a narcissistic jerk somewhere and like throw their dick around. I'd just rather see somebody do that. As well as the furries. So, let's talk about the furries. Now, I think they're pretty neat. I don't mind it. I don't mind it one bit. So this is going to be on, doggone it. You know, it's weird. I just saw my family and their words are going through my head. And they weren't necessarily bad, but I'm very, what's it called, sidetracked. This is the channel Them. It's not a channel. It is, I feel like a newspaper type of situation. Them, T-H-E-M. What is a furry? Everything you need to know about a misunderstood subculture. Now, this is interesting to me. I think it'd be fun. I do. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And especially if it's a society where everybody together kind of joins together and has fun doing it. But the more I looked into it, anytime you have a community of people that do things together on one idea and one common theme, you get gang mentalities, in my opinion. So these are a vibrant community to live their lives with common interests. It does point out a lot that furry fandoms can be an incredibly affirming space for trans and queer folks. It literally says that. I don't know about that. I don't think that being gay or trans has anything to do with being a furry. If it appeals to you, it's because you get to put on something to cover you so that people who judge you by what you look like, now you just blew their balls off. They don't even know what to do now. I get it. I do. I get it. I get it. A furry is anyone who has a strong interest in humanoid animals. Now remember, oid, O-I-D, resembling a human. And it's an animal. So we have the oid. So since the subculture first emerged in the 1980s, furries have built a vibrant community. Now here's the thing. I looked this up. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter where you go. You're going to get different deets all over the place. Damn it. Anyway, so here's the thing about this. I also saw that it started in 1971. So they say a lot of different things on these different things. You have a fursona. Your fursona is your persona in animal furry form. You'll hear the word anthro. Now listen. Here we go. Okay, it's a big word. It's like this big. All right. Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic means it's an attribution of human traits, emotions, and intentions to a non-human entity. So that's what that means. And I think that's really what this is about. It's not about sex, and it's not about gayness. I think it's really about having fun and trying not to be judged for a few hours. So much to see. There's avatars in furries. Some people don't really get dressed up. They'll go on to chat rooms and websites and they'll have a furry avatar that they do. It's really cool. I'm not a gamer. I don't like that. It's not my cup of tea. But I've seen it and I think it's really neat, you know? They do things that are called a cuddle puddle, which is what I saw on CSI. Now, if you watch a lot of these, YouTube videos on this, and I watched about 10. I read a few articles, Googled some crap. They don't want that angle played up. They don't want the cuddle puddle, the scritching, and all that. When there was, who was it? There was a talk show. They had a young lady come on there. She's a furry. And she said, she was asked, do you have sex with each other wearing fur costumes? And she said yes. And there was a huge outrage about that with the community. One of them actually sent her something that said, you told. So she got a lot of hate on that. Every community has sex. So let's just take that out right now. If that's what you're going to think, that this is like a sex cult, it's not. It's not even close. I think mostly it's a dance cult. If anything, there'd be more dancing than sexing, it looks like. But there are platforms called Deviant Art that you could go on and make these different avatars. And a lot of them are not, well, no, a lot of them are awesome. But then you'll have like this many people doing some stupid shit. It only takes one person to stand down and say, hey, I'm part of this group. And then everybody goes, what? And also everybody really likes a bad story. Everybody likes bad news. Even if you say you don't like bad news, you know darn well you're listening. So I think that's just, it's just part of it, okay? These things, you can't really call one person any, you know what I'm saying? You can't take a whole society of people and say, you know, unless you're actually in sex chat rooms and this and that. And they do have that area of this, but this is considered a community. I don't know why I keep doing air quotes, but I do. And I'm yelling. I gotta stop yelling. Really, I need to take a second here, man. Vanilla ice cream, peanut butter, whiskey, and some maple syrup. Nice and slow. Get it right to the consistency you want. You've got a beautiful peanut butter syrup. It helps. You help me out, peanut butter syrup. I love doing these videos. It means a lot to me. And I like looking into stuff like this. The way I am, I'm not a part of a community. I can't really do it. I don't conform, but I like to look at it. I also went on Reddit for about 30 hours. But there is a lot of Reddit on furriness. There's a lot of furry stuff. There's an app called Furzoo to meet like-minded people. That's fun. I like that. That is so fun. They also have conventions. They'll have a furry convention. I was watching Morning Joe. It was about the Chicago furry convention. Somebody released a toxic gas, and all the furries had to skate out to the parking lot. The woman newscaster was laughing so hard. She had to get up and leave. She went and took off. She's laughing. It was kind of like if you were in school and you're in study hall and you're not supposed to laugh. She laughed so hard she had to leave. She's like, I can't. It's too much. So a lot of times what I've seen with this too is they like to just have fun together. There's a lot of dance-offs. Sometimes you'll see a community of furries bowling. That takes skill because they're wearing fur gloves. They're also wearing tails and a big head, like some kind of a crazy head. I mean, if you've ever been a mascot, that is exhausting. That's a lot. That's heavy. It's hot. So to be able to bowl and get a strike, hell yeah. Man, I have sworn like 5 times. I need to settle. I don't know. Groove came in today with a bird. A live bird. Groove is my cat. He brought the bird in. I'm watching him. He's on the window. I'm like, no, no, because I saw like a little orange leg, and I'm like, oh no. He still brought it in. He dropped it. He picked it up and starts flying. It's flying. He's going like this. I'm going like this. Woo! He dropped it a few times. I grabbed it a few times. I ended up getting it. Thank God. Hallelujah. That little bird is good to go. I got it out of the house. Really. It drained me. I know that sounds silly, but because I was so like, yeah, you know, and I'm trying not to scream because I'm going to scare the cat more and the bird more. It's going to make it worse, but anyway, I think it's nuts. So your persona is your personality traits put in an animal form. It's an image. It helps you escape. The yiffing is a sex and skirt. Now, see, I saw it scritching and yiffing. So I'm not sure which one. Any furries out there, let me know because I saw it both ways. I feel like scritching and yiffing might be two different things even. But I think it was CSI that called it scritching. If I had a fursona, what would I be? So it's animation, cosplay. It's anonymous. Nobody knows who you are. You have a fake name. You're wearing a big costume. It's fun. There's something, a VR chat that you could go on to where other people who are furries, you could all talk. Here's what the problem is with that, is there's something called a cub community, which would be smaller animals, and it's sexualized. So that also has been tied into the furries. Like I said, you got a community of people. Nobody's going to act right. You can't get 100% of people acting correctly. You just can't. You can't. There's a guy, a man that's in charge of this. He's a scientist, and I think he might even be a public official. But the way he speaks and the way he acts is very rude. He says, you're not representing you, you're representing us. And when a woman went on the talk show and she's like, yeah, I bone in my costume sometimes, we have fun. First of all, that's impossible. If you think about it, it is impossible. But second of all, I mean, if you're wearing it, but you know, he says you're not talking about, you're not representing you. I got a problem with that because I feel like this is supposed to represent you. And this guy, you know, he kind of like swings the old balls around, the old dong, you know what I'm saying? He's smacking people in the head about it, screaming at them. I think he actually said something like he would chloroform somebody if they actually had the nerve to say that the community has sex with each other, any of this furry cuddle puddles happen and all that. Don't do that. Don't do that. If it is what it is, and if you are in a group of people who have been marginalized and treated poorly, so poorly that they're putting on animal costumes and trying to fit in with other animals and having fun, why in the world are you doing that? I understand that that might not be the ideology you want to spread across the land, but anybody with a thought in their head could tell that that's not true. Joe Rogan did something on this. Joe Rogan discussed people at I think it was the Chicago one, also the Chicago, it's like a cosplay convention, it's fun. And somebody called down and asked for a litter box. Listen, the way I think, the fact that Joe Rogan put that out there, I don't think he understood what was going to happen with this. Joe Rogan does have a large reach, and he does have a lot going on, though, also. When he said someone called downstairs and asked for a litter box in the lobby, he thinks it's funny, and it is, But it wasn't meant to distinguish the entire community either. Nobody uses litter boxes. Nobody does that. It's not a real thing. I think that somebody was going up in the elevator and the guy carrying his bags was talking some wisecracks. And when they got up to their room, they're like, oh, okay, then please put a litter box down in the lobby. You know what I mean? It's something like that. How do you start? How do I become a furry? Well, I would imagine you'd get a persona. So I was thinking about it. And I see the neatest stuff. I see a lot of cats, foxes, raccoons, Pooh Bears. You could be a unicorn. Anything with fur, right? And it's fun. So really, you couldn't be a frog then, right? It'd have to have fur. You'd have to have fur. All right, who would I be? I think I would be, I can't make up my mind. I don't know if it's the bipolar in me, but I want to be a mouse or a polar bear. I can't make up my mind. And it's they're opposites. You got a little tiny mouse over here, and they have huge North Pole polar bear. Those are the two things I would choose. If I would choose my mouse, I'd want a very skin-tight, small fur. I'd want my fur to be close to the body. I don't want anything big and loose. And I want little hands. And I might put like little nails on it, you know. And I'd want big whiskers. And if I was a polar bear, I'd want a big suit. If I was a polar bear, I'd want a real big suit. That'd be so fun. Be so hot. What could you use that dry wick there? Dry wick clothing on the inside of the furry suits? They're expensive, so they range from anywhere from like they average around $2,000, but it goes up. Obviously, you can make your own. A lot of people do. I think it's neat. Now, another thing they did was see. Listen. I say they, I mean society, against the furries. They're saying that the furries are trying to brainwash Generation, bloody blue. Generation X is Generation Z is a big furry community. That's anywhere from like 97 to 2010. They're in their 20s. That's fun. That's when you have fun. If there were furries out when I was in my 20s, I would totally be at a furry convention. I would be at a furry party. I'd be furrying it up all over town. You wouldn't even be able to stop me. I'd be furrying all over the place. You can't brainwash people into having a fursona. And the reason why I say that, if parents feel like their children are being brainwashed by furries, then please, please stop showing Disney to your children. Start there. Start at home. Start at home. And see why does my child get brainwashed? If you think they're brainwashed, you got to ask yourself why. Why would my child be brainwashed? People who are brainwashed are looking for something, aren't they? They're looking for love, they're looking for respect, they're looking for a community, they're looking to be acknowledged. If you want to blame an entire group of people for your child, you need to look at your child. You need to really look at yourself, because your child's a reflection of yourself. So whatever you did to make that child be brainwashed, back it up, check it out. And if the child does like being a furry, is that so bad? Can you do it with them? I think it'd be fun. If one of my kids came up to me and they were like, I want to be a furry, because they're in their 20s, I'd say, yeah, let's do it. Are you crazy? Because I wanted to take my children to Comic-Cons, and they didn't want to go. They didn't want to go. I thought it'd be amazing. I was like, we have to go. Because we lived in Cleveland, Ohio. And there's huge centers there, and there's always all kinds of fun conventions. And the Comic-Con came. I think if I'd go to Comic-Con, I'd be Wonder Woman or Snow White. Those are my choices. And if I would have to do something mythical, it would be, I can't remember. That's what I would do. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Now, what I did notice with this is because there's a community, like I said, that guy that's in charge, he speaks in a hate speech. Talking about chloroforming people. Screaming, yeah, I'm gonna F you up and blah, blah, blah. And we don't talk like that. We don't do... No, listen, pal. The whole point of this is to be your own little person inside and have fun. And it's easy and it's fun. They do a shame thing where one person will step outside of the confines of the furry. It's just like any society. Right now, in my normal society, day to day, if I step outside of that, I'm going to have a lot of people hating on me too. They do it too, but for some reason, it bothers me more because how could you shame people and put them down when the whole point of the whole community is acceptance? It's a gang mentality. Anytime there's a group of people, there's going to be a gang, and there's going to be a gang up. It bums me out to think of that. But it's true. It's true. Now, if you were a furry, who would you be? A nice way to get attention without a person being a person. It removes social barriers. It's a performance art. Creativity, imagination, art, dreaming, a community, non-binary, casual, mythical. Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I don't know. I know it's been going on forever, but if you were a furry, who would you be? And what would you name yourself? Let me know. Let me know. And if anybody else is a furry out there, tell me everything. I want to know all about it. I cannot wait to hear this. Furries are really interesting. It's a really neat society to me. There's a lot of things going on in this world I don't know about. I don't know anything about the gaming community or any of those websites. I don't know anything about chat rooms. I don't know anything about any of this. And you'll see some people say, well, I'm zoosexual, which means you want to have sex with animals. Nah, that's not these people. These people are separate from that. You could be a furry and be a zoosexual. You could be a furry and be a pervert. You could be a furry and be anything. Just like I could be a mom and I could be a jerk. Like, it's the same thing. Am I a jerk? Yes. If somebody gets in a group and they want to wear a fur costume, dress like a pig, a raccoon, who gives a shit? There's stories of people picking up an actual furry and throwing them in a garbage can. People are ignorant. Let's just spread the love. Put on your fur and have some fun and cut a rug. Please give me a like. Please subscribe. And please give me a comment because I'm dying to know about this furry situation. I don't know anything about it other than what I just said, and I think it's neat. Let me know.